So, Camilla ended up in the hands of the kidnappers. They weren't able to change that part. Lynn listened to my story without saying anything. Sorry, I wish there was something else I could have done. No, you did the best you could. I'm sure she's alright, after all. After all, she has me! Oh, when you're the boys in your head get a little overboard. Missile? Are you in there? Miss Lynn! Leave Miss Camilla to me! Also, man, how'd you know that was Missile? Suddenly a human voice talks to you. And you just know it's your dog. I know I don't look like much right now, but I'm sure I can help her. Oh, Missile. Missile. Bye, Missile. Miss Lynn! Oh, oh. Missile's dead. I'm going to leave it up to Missile. Kinda looks like Missile's being left up to the wind. Ooh! I have something to give you. Stop the park from being turned into a housing site. Protect the park, the rock of the gods. Aren't you forgetting your promise? Oh, pardon me, pardon me. My apologies. This is for you. Oh. Shove that in your pocket. You kept the music box safe, didn't you? Thank you. Not at all. I was only doing what the rock of the gods would have wanted. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? He's mesmerized by my beauty. Hey, the cat's not allowed to get your tongue. Excuse me, but are you? No, it couldn't be. Have we met before? Aren't you the little girl from that time? I'll never forget it. It was 10 years ago in this park. 10 years ago? Are you talking about... Back with these two. How'd we work about this? I don't know. It feels weird to have such a short range after having Missile all the time. Oh, that's not... Here in this park, the gods surely control fate. Today, 10 years from that day, we meet once again. If that isn't the power of the gods, then what else is it? I've been loving voicing him. It could just be a coincidence. But apparently you know our lady detective here. Could you tell us about it? About what happened 10 years ago? Yes, of course. I was actually about to do just that. Let's see here. Well, Rock of the Gods, sure, we'll talk about the thing that crushed you. I think there's an achievement for not crushing. For not getting... Yeah, for not saving them. Despite, you know, the switch being, like, right there. What's this Rock of the Gods you keep mentioning? Don't you know? It's right there, in front of us. Ah, dog. Oh, Missile. Missile. Wait a minute. You say GODS, but do you mean DOGS? Hang on, can I Japanese this? What was this in Japanese? You say gods, but do you mean dogs? Could have been something else. I could think hair, maybe. Of course not! Don't be silly. This is no time for ridiculous word games. You are standing just above the Rock of the Gods now. Take a good look at that monument. Monument? Yep, it does in fact say Rock of the Gods Temsik Park. The Rock of the Gods. The rock is buried in the ground right here. It's been there these 10 years. Ever since that day it flew down from the heavens, it showed us a miracle. A miracle. So this rock you've been talking about, is it a meteorite? Precisely. It dropped from the sky on that day 10 years ago. Yes, of course. Surely you know all about it. Me? 10 years ago. Weird, you wouldn't think that the crazy guy at the park has all the lore reasons, but hey, here we are. The crazy guy in the park has all the reasons. Well, he's not really crazy. I'd say eccentric. That day, I happened to be passing through this park. I had no idea that day would change my destiny. The sun was going down, and through the gloom, I heard the scream of a little girl. Yeah, that'd be it. Don't ask me to do it. Now, just calm down and drop that weapon. Stay back. If you come any closer, I'll shoot her. Winter. Shielding? I'm gonna take it that's not a plunger. No, that's a shovel. I hope that's a shovel. And that'd be weird. I peeked out fearfully from behind the bushes and saw some shadowy figures. I didn't see the face of the criminal clearly. I knew I should do something to help, but I couldn't move. The tension was so thick, it was painful. Just when I couldn't stand it any longer, that's when it happened. The sky turned bluish white. I got struck by a meteor. When it crashed into the ground, the meteorite gave off a shower of beautiful fragments. And then I saw it. One of those beautiful fragments pierced into the criminal's back. This feels so Ace Attorney, I love it. It wasn't Jowd who shot him, it was the meteor that came out of no... Oh. The judgment of the gods was brought down on the park that day. "10 years ago, the little girl that was you was saved by the Rock of the Gods." Oh my, I can't believe it. The Rock of the Gods was given the name Temsik. We've heard that name. Get rid of any last trace of Temsik in this. That was... I believe that was the old man. The old man in the... Yeah, there was the crazy old man in the machine room. Not machine room. Projector room, I guess. And still today, it lies sleeping deep in the park's earth. Okay, Temsik. I never knew about this Temsik. I always thought Jowd was the one who saved me. So wait, how does that work? If Jowd thought he shot the kidnapper. Yeah, Jowd thought he shot the kidnapper, but the meteor hit the kidnapper's back. How does that work? Yeah, you were very young then. And you passed out from the shock of being taken hostage. Of course you wouldn't remember. But that's funny. A huge incident like that should have caused quite a stir. Strange you never heard of it, Lynn. It is, isn't it? But now that I think about it, I remember I didn't want to think about what happened. I avoided the news and I never came to this park again. That's why I didn't know anything about it. The meteorite was named Temsik after the name of this park that it fell in. And then the Rock of the Gods was forgotten. Now, an awful thing is happening. They're talking about turning the park into a housing site. I'll never forget the miracle I've witnessed that day. He says miracle now. And so I've taken up residence in this park and am trying to appeal to the people. Protect the park, the Rock of the Gods. That is my mission. I see. I'm taking you with me, Missile. Oh, 10 years. The little girl that was Lynn wasn't aware of the meteorite. I get that, but Detective Jowd, on the other hand, there's no way he didn't know about this Temsik thing. And if he knew... The man died. I took his life. What was that confession of his all about? I guess you could take that angle. The rocks of the gods that fell from the sky 10 years ago changed the destinies of many people's lives, like the ripples on a pond when a pebble is dropped in. With every answer I get, I learn about a new mystery. Will I be able to break the chain of mysteries before dawn? Anyway, now that we have the evidence we need, we decide to meet up again at the minister's office. Besides, there are a few things I want to ask Detective Jowd. Oh wow, just here already. I was going to say, there's some very good clue hiding in those past scenes. I love it. Can't say much, but you know, it was there, and if you know, you know. We found the music box, Detective Jowd. Good job, Lynn. I knew you would. Once everything had been resolved, I wanted you to give this to him. Man, you mean Cabanella, right? I don't suppose he'll ever forgive me. Detective Jowd. Now then, let's get this thing open. There's a certain knack to doing it, you know. Yeah, that's the knack, alright. Calls that knack? Looks more like brute strength to me. And that looks like a Mary Poppins bag. You should find scorch marks on the grip. Scorch marks? When Camilla built her contraption, she used a special kind of string. It's a kind magicians use. It burns up in an instant and disappears. Why Camilla have that? Yeah, why did little Camilla have something like that? I don't know. Maybe it's because she's a detective's daughter. Not leaving any evidence behind and all that. In the case report, there were mentions of some scorch marks. When it happened, Camilla was watching from her hiding place. She saw the flame run into the gun, something she naturally did include in her design. Who would this be? Wait. I took the gun out of the frame and replaced it with a picture. If you remove the picture, you should find scorch mark behind the frames too. And those marks should match up with the ones on the gun. In other words, it proves the contraption existed there in that room that day. And it didn't work the way your little girl intended. Is that right? Exactly. Some cowardly culprit modified the design. But that angle was never brought up in court. And so, as Justice Minister, I must call off the execution at this point. I knew I was right. It wasn't Detective Jowd. Now we can finally prove that. Thank goodness. Thank you, Lynn. Those eyes of yours. I see the eyes of that very little girl from 10 years ago. Quick time. There you go. Let's talk to the minister first. What's the matter? I just don't know. What should I have done 5 years ago? Back then, nobody had any way of knowing the true nature of the manipulator. It wasn't anyone's fault that we didn't know the truth. You really think so? Of course. Besides, what's important right now is deciding what to do next, am I right? He's right, Mr. Minister. Yes, of course. I do believe she is. What is it now? I just don't know. What should I do next? You'll figure it out. We believe in you. Well, that makes one person. Jowd's head, I guess. Only we could only get to Jowd. Sissel, you hadn't come to my cell tonight. I would have been gone by now, without ever having known any of this. This is what I deserve. That's what I told myself these past 5 years. But things are different now. Thanks to you, my eyes have finally been opened. I've come into contact with a lot of people's lives and gotten involved in their fates. And the only reason I was doing it was to regain my own lost memory. But things are different now. We're connected to each other somehow. I just know it. And that's why I need to ask you a few more questions, in order to find the truth about us. Fair enough. Fire away. That's a lot. Manipulator, Camilla's contraption, and Temsik. Nothing about the portrait of me, though. Sissel told me about it, Detective Jowd. About the manipulator. Yes, and looks like this manipulator did a number on the minister, too. Please don't pick on the minister. If he dies again, I'm the one who has to save him. Oh. Sissel, do you think that's what happened to me too? What are you talking about, Lynn? Don't tell me. You were manipulated too? There's always a part of me that couldn't just believe it. That image of the one who shot me. Now you see the possibility of a new explanation. But who is it? And why'd they do it? Camilla's contraption. That contraption was made It was a birthday surprise for Camilla's mother, wasn't it? That's right. Something's been bothering me about it. I feel like I know that device from somewhere. No surprise there. You lost your life once tonight because of that machine. Right, I knew it. See, Detective Jowd? No, I'm afraid I don't see. Yeah. Why is it there? I told Detective Jowd about it. Told him about seeing the exact same contraption tonight in a completely different place. Very strange indeed. A junkyard on the edge of town. I've never even heard of the place. And what's more, I've never told a single soul about that contraption. Yeah, that is a good question. How does Birdman know that? Know literally everything. He knew about the string. You have it? You knew about the string and knew about the gun on the framed gun. That old pigeon guy. Who in the world is he? Temsik. Detective Jowd. You must have heard this name before. Temsik. A meteorite that fell in the park 10 years ago. You were there. So, you found out about that, did you? I hear that meteorite saved little Lynn's life. That's right. I couldn't do anything to help Lynn that day. Well, in that case, I don't get it. That's true. Doesn't that mean you didn't steal someone's life away? What are you talking about? Detective Jowd, you told me 10 years ago the person who killed the perpetrator in the park was you. What? But it was the meteorite. I wasn't lying. I stole that man's life away. No question about it. It was entirely my fault. I was just about to shoot him. I would have shot him in the next instant if that meteorite hadn't come. At that point, I was already a murderer. That's not true. You were trying to save me. Lynn, I'm sorry, but I don't think that's really it. Huh? Truth about 10 years ago. On that day, 10 years ago, a different incident happened in another place. Another place? How many incidents back then? Yes, in the police headquarters interrogation room. The worst sort of incident. A suspect who was being questioned escaped. Wow, I didn't know about that. I happened to be there in the detective division, so I joined the chase. Fortunately, or I guess unfortunately, I was able to track him down alone in the park. I fired a warning shot. I wanted to catch him bad. That warning shot made him panic. At the time, I was young and green detective, brandishing my sense of justice like a sword. I made him panic and got you involved, Lynn. It was all my fault. Detective Jowd. All I could see was my target. I couldn't even see you. I'm so sorry, Lynn. So the man who grabbed me that day. These last 10 years, I've never forgotten his face. Then a few years after that, when my wife Alma died in such a mysterious way, I thought it was fate, my punishment for what I'd done. I painted pictures in my cell, nothing but portraits of people's faces. and the faces of the many people I'd met in my life and didn't want to forget. And tonight, I finished my last portrait, the final face I wanted to remember. Don't really need to remember, but never mind. The final face. The face of the man in the park that day. Wait just a minute. It can't be. I saw that painting. I saw the face you painted tonight. It was my face. You telling me I was the man in the park at that time? That's right. That face of yours is the face I saw 10 years ago. The face of a man whose life I stole, of the man who was pronounced dead at the scene. But hold on, Detective Jowd. That can't be true. I just met Sizzle for the first time tonight. And he died right in front of me. How's that impossible? By the way, the name that I know the man in the park that day by isn't Sizzle. What? From the first minute I laid eyes on you tonight, I've been wondering, who in the world is this guy? Convenient phone interruption. Mr. Minister? Inspector Cabanela, where are you? Just be quiet and listen. This is our demand. What? Demand? Our demand hasn't changed. The execution must be tonight. Once we've confirmed it's been carried out, we'll release the hostage. What are you talking about, Inspector Cabanela? And you know it wasn't my daughter who wasn't abducted. Does it really matter who the hostage is? A life is a life. Even if it's the daughter of a death row prisoner. Once the criminal gets the punishment he deserves, the hostage will go free. Carry out the execution immediately and wait for our call. What is it, Mr. Minister? You look paler than ever. What in the world? What's going on? Inspector Cabanela? The Rock of the Gods that fell from the sky 10 years ago twisted the fates of many people and started the chain of tragic events. And even now, the chain continues to grow even longer. Inspector Cabanela's call proved that to us. And the greatest mystery of all has risen to the surface. Who's this me we've been chasing all night? Who am I? I'm even further from knowing than when I started.